Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are continuing our extensive breakdown of Kaizen Made Easy. And specifically, we're diving into the insights from Mark Fortkun's Genba Ikigai Leading to Serve.
That's right, we're in the second edition.
And if you've been following along, you know we've just wrapped up a pretty intense section on self-leadership.
It's good to be back. And yeah, we are shifting gears significantly today.
We really are. We spent the last few sessions on habits 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Getting your own house in order, integrity, visualization. Then we started talking about building the team.
Right.
But today, looking at the outline for Habit 7, it feels like we're moving from that internal work to the external obligation. This is where the rubber really meets the road for leadership.
Absolutely. This is the pivot point. We're now entering the section called Leading the Tribe, and Habit 7 is the foundation of that entire section.
So the habit is called Mendoumi.
Mendoumi.
And my first reaction, honestly, when I saw that word, was that it sounds gentle, soft even.
It does. It has a soft sound to it.
Like something you do in a garden. But digging into Fortkun's definition, that is.
Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly what's happening here.
No, and that's a common misconception. Mendoumi translates to member care. But in the West, when we say care in a corporate setting, what do we usually mean?
Perks.
Perks, exactly. Free coffee, casual Fridays, maybe a wellness app. It's treated as a nice to have.
Right. It's the stuff you put on the recruitment brochure. We care about our people.
Yes, but Fortkun is presenting Mendoumi not as a perk, but as an operational necessity. He defines it as the leader's absolute obligation to increase a team member's self-worth by actively supporting them.
Actively.
It's about serving the front line so they can actually perform. It's much closer to the military concept of officers eat last than it is to, corporate wellness.
That distinction, active support versus passive niceness,
Yeah.
That's where I want to start. The book draws a really sharp line between empathy and care. And I think a lot of leaders confuse the two. I can feel bad for my team being overworked, and I can tell myself, I'm a good leader because I empathize. But Fortkun says that's not enough.
It's not only not enough, it's useless on its own. Empathy is a feeling. It's internal to you.
Right.
If I see you struggling to lift a heavy box on the assembly line and I think, oh, that looks heavy, poor guy, I am experiencing empathy. But I haven't changed your reality one bit.
You're just a sympathetic spectator.
Precisely. Mendoumi is empathy in motion. It's kinetic. It's walking over and helping you lift the box.
Okay.
Or even better, it's asking, why is the process designed so that you have to lift 50 pounds every 3 minutes, and then changing the process to protect your back?
So empathy feels, Mendoumi acts.
That's the core difference. And to visualize this, Fortkun uses the concept of the inverted pyramid.
Yes. I wanted to drill down on this because servant leadership is a buzzword we hear constantly. But the mechanics of the inverted pyramid actually explain how it works structurally.
Well, think about the traditional org chart.
The classic triangle.
The classic triangle. CEO at the top, VPs, managers, and then the massive base of workers at the bottom.
Right.
In that structure, gravity works against the worker. Orders, pressure, and blame. They all flow downhill. Everyone looks up to the boss.
And the boss is sitting on top, pretty much crushing the structure.
In Genba Ikigai, you flip that triangle 180 degrees. The leader is at the bottom tip. They are the fulcrum.
Okay.
The massive weight of the organization, the value creators, the people actually touching the product, sits on top of the leader.
That changes the physics of the role completely. If you're at the bottom, your job isn't to dictate. It's to stabilize.
Exactly. You are bearing the weight so they don't have to. You are removing obstacles, providing resources, and keeping the structure level. If the leader wobbles or if the leader steps away to focus on strategy and ignores the daily grind,
The whole thing tips over.
it just tips over.
That's a powerful image. But I want to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Please do.
The text connects this support role to the Toyota family concept. And honestly, whenever I hear a company say we're a family, I check for my wallet.
It's become a massive red flag in the modern job market, hasn't it?
A huge red flag. It usually means we have no boundaries and we expect you to work unpaid overtime.
Right. We work hard and play hard. We're a family. It usually implies lack of professionalism. But Fortkun is referencing the original Toyota philosophy, which is very specific and quite different.
Oh, so?
In this context, family doesn't mean permissiveness. It implies a long-term commitment paired with very high standards.
Okay.
Think about your actual family. You don't fire your brother because he made a mistake. You're kind of stuck with him. You are invested in his long-term success.
Right, you don't cut him loose.
But because you care about him, do you let him engage in self-destructive behavior? If he's about to drive drunk or if he's ruining his life, do you just say, well, I love him, so I'll let him do it?
No, of course not. You stop him. You intervene.
That is the Toyota concept. It's tough love, and the text brings up the acronym SPQDC.
SPQDC. Let's unpack that because that sounds like typical corporate alphabet soup unless we define it.
It's the hierarchy of priorities in a lean environment. Safety, people, quality, delivery, cost. And it's in that strict order.
So safety is number one.
Always.
Yeah.
So applying Mendoumi. If a leader sees a family member, a worker, bypassing a safety guard to get a job done faster, the nice boss might look the other way because they know the worker's just trying to help hit the numbers. But the Mendoumi leader stops the line immediately.
Because allowing them to be unsafe is actually negligence.
Exactly. It's negligence masquerading as kindness. If you care, you enforce the standard because the standard keeps them alive. You correct them because you value them. You don't let family get hurt.
That reframes discipline entirely.
Yeah.
We usually think of discipline as the opposite of care, like punishment. But here, discipline is a form of care.
It is the highest form of care. There's a case study in the chapter that illustrates this perfectly. The boss and the washer.
The washer on the floor. This felt like such a small detail, but the book spends a good amount of time on it.
It's small, but it's symbolic. Imagine a manager walking through the factory floor, the gemba. He sees a screw or a washer lying on the ground.
Okay.
Now, under 5S principle sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain that washer is debris. It's a tripping hazard. It's matter out of place.
But the boss is busy. He's got meetings. He's looking at the big picture. Right.
And if he walks past that washer, what has he just done? He has implicitly authorized a lower standard. He has told every single worker who saw him do it, it is okay to leave trash on the floor. Safety is negotiable.
So by ignoring the small thing, he breaks the safety culture.
Yes. Mendoumi requires the leader to stop and pick it up. Not because he's the janitor, and this is key. He isn't doing it to clean up after people.
He's modeling the behavior.
He is doing it to model humility and adherence to the standard. It's showing that the rules apply to everyone, even the guy in the tie.
And that creates psychological safety.
I see.
When standards are consistent, stress goes down.
Of course. Chaos is stressful. Unpredictability is stressful. Discipline, knowing exactly what is expected and seeing it enforced fairly, actually reduces the cognitive load on the team. That is care.
Discipline reduces stress. That is a counterintuitive take, but it makes total sense. If I know the rules are real, I don't have to guess.
Exactly.
I want to move to the practical application of this. The book talks a lot about the quality touch point, or QTP. And it specifically zooms in on the pre-shift meeting.
The stand-up.
Right. Now, in my experience, the stand-up is usually a data dump. Here are the numbers from yesterday. Here's the goal for today. Let's go. It's purely transactional. Forkin argues it needs to be diagnostic.
He uses the analogy of autonomous maintenance. In manufacturing, before you run a high-speed press, you check the oil levels, you check the bolts, you check the pressure, you verify the machine is ready to perform.
But we usually just throw people onto the line and hope for the best.
Which is madness if you think about it. The pre-shift meeting is the moment to check the machine of the team. We are checking head, heart, and hands.
Head, heart, and hands. Break that down for us.
The leader needs to scan the group. Who is physically present? That's the easy part. But who is mentally present? Who looks exhausted? Who is agitated? Who's just staring at the floor?
And the text mentions a neuroscience connection here.
Right. It does. We know that when a human being is stressed, fatigued, or feeling undervalued, their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex decision-making and focus, it actually inhibits.
It slows down.
It slows down. Their field of view narrows. They literally see less.
So if a worker is stressed out about a sick kid or a fight with a spouse, and you put them on a dangerous machine,
you are inviting a defect or an accident. So the Mendoumi leader uses that morning meeting not just to talk about targets, but to energize the head and heart. If the mindset isn't right, the hands can't do the work.
It's a calibration check. Are we okay to run at full speed today?
And if the answer for someone is no, you address it. You support them. You don't just ignore it and blame them later when the quality drops.
This connects directly to habit 15, which is and-on. We haven't fully covered and-on yet,
right,
but that's the system where a worker pulls a cord to stop the line if they see a problem.
Yes. And think about the psychology required to pull that cord.
It must be terrifying.
It is. You are stopping a multi-million-dollar process. You are creating a scene. Everyone looks at you. A worker will only pull that cord if they feel safe.
If they think the boss is going to yell at them for stopping production.
They'll hide the defect. They will let the bad part go down the line.
So Mendoumi, that care and safety is actually the prerequisite for quality control.
You cannot have a functioning and-on system without Mendoumi. If you don't care for the people, they won't care enough to stop the line. They will protect themselves instead of protecting the customer.
That is a massive insight. Care isn't just HR fluff, it's your quality assurance policy.
100%.
I want to look at the case studies because the book gives us two very different pictures of leadership. One positive, one pretty disastrous.
Right.
Let's start with the master printer.
This is a great visual example. You have a high-level manager in a printing facility. Usually, managers wear suits or button-downs. It's a status symbol. I am management. I don't get dirty.
But this guy wore the workwear.
He wore the exact same uniform as the operators on the floor. Now, you might think, so what? It's just clothes. But in a factory, clothes are tribal markers.
They really are.
By wearing the uniform, he was physically dismantling the us versus them barrier.
It signals, I identify with the value creators, not just the boardroom.
And it fostered immense respect. When he walked the floor, he wasn't a tourist. He was part of the tribe. He showed he was there to serve the print run, not just inspect it.
Okay, now contrast that with the other story, the CEO and the suppliers. This one. Honestly, it made me angry reading it.
It's a visceral example of what happens when you get this wrong. This was a CEO who prided himself on his business credit rating. He paid every external supplier on time. Perfect payment history for materials, electricity, logistics.
But he paid his own employees late. That sends a message that you can't really take it back.
It screams loudly and clearly. Things are more important than people. My reputation with the bank is more important than your ability to buy groceries.
And once you send that signal, you've destroyed trust completely.
You've bankrupted the emotional bank account, and once that trust is gone, Mendoumi is impossible. You can't care for people who know you view them as secondary to raw materials.
It reminds me of the integration with Habit 1 Hansei, or self-reflection. Because I bet that CEO blamed the economy, or he blamed his cash flow manager.
Oh, of course. The bad leader looks out the window to assign blame. The workers are lazy. The market is tough. The Mendoumi leader looks in the mirror.
That's a tough pivot for a lot of people in charge.
It is. If a team member is failing, Habit 7 demands you ask yourself first. What did I fail to provide? Did I fail to train them? Did I fail to notice they were overwhelmed? Did I fail to give them the right tools?
It puts the burden of the team's success squarely on the leader.
Which is exactly where it belongs in a servant leadership model.
So let's get practical. We've got the philosophy. Care is action. Discipline is care. Check the head and heart. If I'm a manager listening to this and I want to start practicing Mendoumi tomorrow, what do I actually do? The text lists a few takeaways. One was human judoka.
Human judoka. Right. So judoka is a pillar of the Toyota production system. It usually means automation with a human touch machines that are smart enough to stop when they detect an error.
So how do you apply that to a person?
It means building a quality check into every human interaction. When you talk to your team, don't just transact information, run a background scan. Is this person okay? Do they have what they need?
But we have to be careful with boundaries here. The book explicitly says you are not a psychologist.
That is a critical distinction. You are a leader. You are there to support them in the context of their work. You don't try to solve their marriage problems or diagnose their depression. That's overstepping.
So what's the line?
The line is functioning and safety. If you see their personal stress impacting their work or their safety, you intervene. You might say, you seem off today, let's move you to a lower risk task, or do you need to take the afternoon? You offer support, but you don't try to be their doctor.
Got it. And to do that well, you need what Forkin calls the educated eye.
Yes, you have to train yourself to see. When you go to the Gemba, don't just look at the production board, look at the people, look at their posture, look at the speed they're moving. Is there tension in the room?
And there's a specific challenge attached to this, the 3-minute rule.
The 180-second rule. I love this because it's so simple but so hard for busy people. The challenge is, when you go to the place of work, stop. Do not move for 3 minutes.
That feels like an eternity when you have a packed schedule.
It does. We're addicted to the flyby. We wave, we walk fast, we look busy, but you learn nothing from a flyby. If you stand still for 180 seconds, you become part of the background. You start to see the reality. You see the tool that keeps jamming. You see the frustration on the operator's face.
You gather the data you need to actually care.
Exactly. You can't fix what you don't see.
I really like that. Data to care. It circles back to the reflection question the chapter poses. Do I view my team as resources to be used or as individuals to be supported so they can find ikigai in their work?
That's the binary choice. The old industrial model views people as batteries, use them up, replace them. The Kaizen view is that people are the source of value. If you support them finding meaning ikigai, the business results follow.
It's that paradox. To get the numbers, you have to focus on the people, not the numbers.
Correct.
So as we wrap up Habit 7, let's summarize. We are moving from passive empathy to active Mendoumi. We are using the inverted pyramid to support the front line. We are using discipline and standards as a form of care to reduce stress. And we are committing to that 180 seconds of observation.
That covers the essentials, yeah.
I want to leave the listeners with a final thought from the book. Forkun writes something that sounds a bit cold at first. Machines can wait, and people can wait a little, but material must keep flowing.
It does sound like product over people initially.
But there's a deeper meaning, right?
There is. If you don't care for the people moving the material, the flow will stop. The machine doesn't have feelings, it can wait. But a person who feels neglected will disengage.
And when they disengage?
The flow stops. So the only way to keep the material flowing is to prioritize the human element.
And here is the provocative question I want you to mull over this week, courtesy of our expert here.
Yeah.
Are you feeding the monkeys?
It's a metaphor I use often. When your team has a problem, do you swoop in and solve it? Do you play the hero?
Which feels like helping.
That's feeding the monkeys. You're making them dependent on you. Mendoumi is teaching them to fish. It's caring enough to struggle with them, to coach them, so they develop the capability to solve it themselves.
Care isn't coddling. Care is empowering.
Exactly.
That is plenty to chew on. Next time on the deep dive, we are moving to Habit 8. And this one sounds like a party. It's the habit of celebrating.
And it's more critical than you might think. Once you've done the hard work of caring and correcting, how do you lock in the success? How do you recognize the win?
I can't wait for that. If you want to dive deeper into the master printer story and the details of the SPQDC framework, go pick up Genba Ikigai, Leading to Serve by Mark Forkun on Amazon. It is a dense text, but absolutely worth the read.
Highly recommended.
And for the visual learners out there, don't forget to subscribe to the Kaizen Made Easy YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Go practice your 180 seconds today. We'll see you in the next deep dive.